Do you want me and other people to be the external version of your Xanax, the external version of your anxiety medicine? We are not going to do it because it requires us to lie to you. Hello, good people. It is Todd Shannon, data scientist, social commentator, getter of buckets, and today we're going to talk about these viral Candace Owen clips. Candace has got her own version now of facts don't care about your feelings. She's got a new phrase. I think, life is hard, get a helmet or whatever. You're going to see it here. We're going to talk about, I want to watch these 3 clips that are actually going pretty viral, and I want to react to them because although these clips went viral, I do have a slight critique for Candace's answers here because they were, she owned the left, right? She owned the college kids, right? But I think really whenever you go to these sort of talks there's a very, very important obligation that I think the speaker has to leave people with something that they can grow on, right? And even if the people asking the questions aren't the ones who will benefit from it, because millions of people will see these viral clips, it's important that you give them some substance. So I understand that Candace was a little frustrated, but I think there was a missed opportunity here. So we're going to watch these clips, and I'm going to give you my take on what I would have said, even though I'm playing Monday morning quarterback. But I think there's an opportunity here to amplify something that's important. So let's listen.
What do you have to say to the trans students on this campus who actively feel victimized by your presence here today? Additionally, you just pointed out that this man detransitioned, but earlier in your speech...
Guys, I want to hear her. Go ahead. What do I have to say? Just the question, please. No speech. What is the question?
What do you have to say to the trans students on this campus who feel actively victimized by your presence here?
Life's tough. Get a helmet, man. I'm too pregnant for this. Next question.
Okay, now this is her Ben Shapiro, facts don't care about your feelings moment, right? This is the thing. People love this, right? Because it's like, life's tough, get a helmet, suck it up, right? I understand it here. But there's something about this that I think that I'm starting to realize, and that I think the people who are really, who we see as fragile, right? I think they're actually experiencing real pain, right? I don't think it's a matter of, you just need to get tougher. The problem is that their pain is self-inflicted, and their kind of pride and arrogance won't let them be coached or counseled to alleviate themselves from their self-imposed anxiety. But I do think the pain is real. But we'll talk about that more in a bit.
My goodness. Seriously, somebody just give out free hugs or something, and somebody give out free hugs. I can't be your mommy, okay? I'm too pregnant. I can't be your mommy.
As a non-binary person, what do you have to tell me about my identity? Because I know for a fact I'm not confused.
Okay, next question. Great statement. That's a statement. Okay, you know your identity. You're not confused. Congratulations, sweetheart. Thank you very much for your statement.
Okay, so that was a statement. Kind of. Part of it was a statement. The first part of it was a question. What do you have to say to me about my identity? Because I know I'm not confused. Now, what I would have said to this young lady is, okay, let's grant that you're not confused. Here's the question that I am asking, though. Why are you so angry? Why are you so upset that I do not accept your view of yourself? That's a fair question. We'll talk about why that's an important question in a moment, but let's watch this last interaction that she had with this last young man, because I think it's the most telling, and it provides the biggest opportunity to help someone really come to grips with what they're really suffering from.
Anything you said. My question isn't specifically about anything you really said tonight, although I don't really agree with anything you said.
Okay.
I'm proudly part of the LGBTQ community. I've always stood up for my community whenever I needed to. I want to focus specifically on, I've been listening to you for a little bit just to understand some things. A live stream you did about Pride Month in June on Facebook because you were no longer allowed on YouTube. The event that you were talking
Slight
about, I actually had the
shade.
honor of attending that event with a lot of my really close friends, and I found it very perplexing to me how you choose to only focus on the things that are negative when it comes to the queer community.
Sorry, when it comes to what community?
The queer community.
Okay.
Let me just say one thing here with respect to this, and I'll get to my main point, is that queer community, there is no queer community. There is no blank community. Insert whatever adjective you want. Black community, Hispanic community. There's no such thing. You know why? Because the word community comes from the term common unity, right? And in order for there to be a common unity, there must be a value or an idea that everyone agrees upon. There cannot be some arbitrary characteristic that unites them, because arbitrary characteristics do not unite people. Being black doesn't unite people. Being Hispanic doesn't unite people. Being so-called queer, whatever that even means, doesn't unite people. So this guy is really subtly suggesting that he is speaking for everyone who's supposedly queer or gay, when I don't think they had some election where they elected this guy the mayor of queer community, the president of the LGBTQ lobby or whatever. No one voted him in and said, hey, this is what you're going to say on behalf of all of us. So whenever someone says on behalf of the so blank community, right, I have this to say, just ask them this. I'm sorry, was there some sort of election where everyone, nominated you to be the representative of everyone? When did this happen? Because otherwise you should just speak for yourself, because you don't speak for everyone. And just as another note, you ever notice the term white community is not even, it sounds even weird to say. There's no white community. Why is that? Why is that? Because this whole idea of the blank community is really an invention of people who want to amplify certain ideologies where they do identity politics. But whites are on the outs. There's no white community. White people don't have a so-called community because they don't have a right to make some sort of claim to be oppressed. All right, let's continue.
Do you not realize that people like you and people like the people you're around, and that, continue to have this idea of us, are the reason we feel that we have to be so openly proud of who we are? Your demented homophobic and transphobic rhetoric and rants just further prove our point that we have to fight loudly to be respected. The reason that LGBTQIA plus suicide rates are so high in this country isn't just because we're part of the community. It's because there are people like you who make us feel like we don't belong. The only LGBTQ agenda we have is
is there a question in there or a speech?
Yes.
You got to ask a question, buddy. I know you wrote this out in your notes, but ask a question. Let's go.
How do you think other people who, with your beliefs, respond to the fact that your hateful and harmful rhetoric costs the lives of queer children every single day, on average, every 45 seconds?
Okay, so this is just going to be a pure boogeyman. You're pretending that someone committed suicide because of Candace Owens. You've got no facts here. You're just going, it's your rhetoric that's causing all of this.
So I really wish I could show you here on YouTube what I responded to this young man, but you know how the world works.
All right, so I want to focus on, basically as the end cap, this last young man's comments. And I want to kind of wrap all of these three things together, because there's a common thread between all of these three activists and what they said. And the common thread between all three of them is this onus of other people, people on the external sources are responsible for the internal state or the emotional and mental stability of people who are supposedly queer or LGBTQ, right? Now, let's think about this. The whole concept of when someone has to use medication, for example, generally means is that their body cannot internally deal with or regulate the thing that the medication is helping with, right? So if a person takes insulin, for example, for diabetes, that means their body can't create it internally, so they need some sort of external help, right? It's the same thing with really, depression, right? Antidepressant medications are supposedly supposed to regulate the mental state or the state of peace for the person who's taking it. Why? Because internally the person cannot produce that peace. They can't produce that mental stability on their own. So what we have here is we have a clear situation where those in the LGBTQ community, what they have admitted is that they don't have inner peace. They're saying it out loud. You know, somebody might say they're saying the quiet part out loud. It isn't even the quiet part. They're just saying it out loud. We cannot have peace except you affirm us. Now let's juxtapose that to, say, for example, Christians, for example, who have always flourished and grown in societies that were hostile to Christians and to Christianity's message. In Jerusalem early on, people were actually persecuted, imprisoned, and killed, yes, killed for believing in Jesus. In Rome, they were fed to lions, right? All of these, we have all of these, you know, the voice of the martyrs. And even to this day, there are many, many people who are persecuted and killed because they are Christians. But what they still don't lack, despite all that hatred, despite all that persecution, one thing that Christians do not lack in those situations is peace, inner peace, an inner sort of calm. Not even slaves in you know, during chattel slavery had the same sort of mental instability and the impulse to self-delete. Not even Jews in Auschwitz. So the question that I would have asked, why do you think it is that you cannot self-regulate? Why can't you find peace inside if you're so sure that what you're doing is right? Why are you so angry? Why are you so dependent on outside sources to give you peace? Now let's juxtapose that. Let's juxtapose that to anxiety. And the term anxiety really can, in some ways, can be interpreted as the tearing of the mind, the tearing of the mind. And it implies something about being double-minded. This is an important concept in the Bible. Double-minded. The Bible says a double-minded person is unstable in all their ways. And being double-minded is the antithesis of peace. Now, what we typically call that today is, we call that cognitive dissonance, right? It's when you're trying to hold two ideas, you're trying to pull them together that are diametrically opposed, like trying to pull two magnets together that repel each other. It can't be done, right? You can artificially hold them together, but as soon as you release the pressure, they will naturally repel. And this is what's happening. In my opinion, this is what happens with the so-called queer people. They are going against the natural order, and they can't have peace in their mind because what they're doing is wrong. And the thing is they can't even consider the fact that the source of their anxiety, their double-mindedness, is not that people don't accept them or don't validate them. It's because they can't self-regulate or find that peace within themselves because mentally they cannot force these two things that are obviously contradictory to harmonize, which is that your body was made and designed in a specific way and you're going against the natural order. The question that I would have asked to these young people is it possible, can you even consider the possibility that your anxiety is due to the fact that you are doing something wrong, that you are contradicting the natural order? I mean, a man standing around trying to say, I'm a woman. Do you know, it doesn't matter how much you protest that you know that is right and that is good. There's a cognitive dissonance that exists with that idea that you can't shake. You're trying to say that I'm the reason why you can't shake it. But what you're really saying is that I have an obligation to take these two magnets that naturally repel each other, and I have the obligation to hold them together for you and provide your external peace, an external source of peace. You want me and other people to be the external version of your Xanax, the external version of your anxiety medicine. We are not going to do it because it requires us to lie to you. I'm not the reason why your mind is tearing. I am not the reason why you cannot find peace. Because if you, for example, like I talked about with Christianity, if you do not accept my views, if you do not affirm who I am and what I believe, then that doesn't change my state of inner peace. I'm not sitting out there yelling and screaming and trying to get people's lives destroyed who don't agree with me. You know why? Because I don't hate those people because I don't view them as the source of my unhappiness. You, the so-called queer community, they view people who won't affirm them as the source of their unhappiness when the source of their unhappiness is their own inability to self-regulate because what they're doing is wrong. We cannot provide you with an external Xanax. Now, I want to present you with one other concept. I talked in another video some time ago about the concept of shame. The Bible talks about it, that when Adam and Eve sinned, they experienced shame for the first time, and they decided they would cover themselves. And shame is something that people don't like to feel, but it's actually a very important emotion. And it is an emotion, it's a feeling, right? Shame comes upon you when you're doing something wrong. And it's a sign that your conscience is actually working the way it should. Much like when your body feels pain. Think about if your body couldn't feel pain. That means when you start to destroy your tissue or your flesh, or when something is unsound in your body, you have no way of knowing that something is wrong so that you can go and take corrective steps, right? If you're hurting yourself and your body's telling you, I don't like that, that's not good, you're going to render your body inoperable if you continue, you feel pain, and then that causes you to stop and seek a remedy. This is how shame works for the conscience. Shame is to the conscience what pain is to the body. What hasn't been, I think, clear to the LGBTQ community, there again, I'm using that in air quotes, is that the shame that they feel, that deep-seated shame, they think it's because we are not affirming them. That's the reason why they feel it. No, my friends, the reason why you can't get rid of it is because you were designed for something different. You're trying to make the pain go away. You're trying to make the shame go away, but the shame is there to cause you to turn. It's how your conscience lets you know that you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing, that you are causing irreparable damage to your mental state. But they just want to blame us. They want us to accept the idea that the reason why they can't shake their anxiety, the reason why their mind is tearing, the reason why they have such cognitive dissonance is because we won't tell them that what they're doing is okay. No, my friend, you were designed in such a way that shame causes you to feel something that causes you to turn. It's your own personal internal compass. And God designed you to obey the natural order. And you can decide you don't want to do that. That's up to you. That is up to you. But I am not the source of your anxiety. I am not the source of your shame. That's the way you were made. And you need that indication in order to self-regulate. So this is what I would have said. Now, they may not have accepted it. That's so totally up to them. But I think for the millions of people who watched that clip, who it went viral, right? I understand it went viral and that, we own the left, right? We own the libs, but I don't think anyone grew from it. I understand that we scored points, right? But this is what I think these young people need to understand. Their shame is coming from the fact that they are bucking against the natural order, and there will be nothing that will cause them to feel peace until they come in line with the truth. So what do you think, friends? Do you think I'm right? Do you think that's the way to go about it? I think that this is how we have to talk to them. As obnoxious as they are, as arrogant as they are, we have to provide this information to them because there's somebody going to be watching that will be able to hear what's being said and they will turn to the truth. I hope you like this. I hope you found this helpful. If you like this content, please like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell because I cannot be sure that YouTube is going to deliver my content to you. I have found some very wacky and inexplicable things where my content doesn't seem to get out, but make sure you hit that notification bell. Till next time, friends, God bless you.